here we go. Meanwhile, it looks like we're being told nobody casted Prince versus Classic. What?
What?
Again, unfortunately, there are only 4 English streams, and there were more than 4 series to begin with, so it's hard to cover everything. It's hard. It's impossible, actually.
Shaking my head. All right, and we, of course, are going to be kicking off our best of 5 qualifying match here on Curious Minds LE. Of course, in the top left-hand corner map, starting all the way in the top left-hand corner, we have a blue Zerg player coming out from the land of Korea. He is going to be representing Team NV. Rip waifus. He is the one true DongRaeGu.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Curious Minds LE, we have the South Korean Protoss player himself. He is red representing Team JP. It is Prince. He was promised.
He is looking absolutely cracked today.
Oh boy. He is, mate. He is. And again, we haven't personally seen it ourselves, but for Prince to take down Ragnarok, that is quite impressive. A very impressive feat. Can he do the same to the Dong?
Well, I gotta tell you, they are 2 very different players, but similar enough in terms of the fact that they play the same race. No, what I'm trying to get at here is that they definitely have very different play styles, even though, you know, ordinarily probably rank them somewhat similarly. Ragnarok is a very tricky player. He likes to trip up his opponents and then win via strategy, whereas DongRaeGu is much more of a mechanical beast. I mean, we just witnessed his 600 APM.
Yeah.
In the previous series, so.
Exactly. Despite his age, despite all of that, despite going to the military, DongRaeGu is still a speedy boy. He's still an absolute beast, mate. So you got to bring your A game if you want to bring him down. Oh boy. And again, I'm very curious to see how Prince approaches this. Just because we have seen a lot of different styles come out from Protoss players recently, specifically in this matchup.
Yeah, we've been definitely seeing a lot of ground toss focused builds. Hero definitely popularizing that a lot. But we got different styles of ground toss as well. That's an early Twilight Council.
Yeah, and it's important that you say early because usually, even when it comes to ground toss compositions, we open up with a Stargate first, right? You go Stargate into either Void Rays to clear out the Overlords or to Oracles even to go across the map and deal some damage and establish your third base. Prince is avoiding all of that and going into a faster Twilight Council.
And a Robo to follow that up with. Is he going to research from that Twilight Council, or is he going to throw down a cheeky shrine?
We'll see, mate. Quickly looking at the vision of DRG, he dipped in and he did see that Robo being thrown down. By the way, he's fully aware of it. I'm feeling this should be a Dark Shrine, but we'll see, as at the moment Prince is a little bit too preoccupied trying to make sure that Overlords don't get in and don't see anything. Oh.
It's actually going to be Glaives coming out from him.
Yeah, here we go. We do have that gateway explosion on the way. What's important is that unlike many Zerg players, DRG does have 2 Overlords out on the map. Usually players only go 1 because of how common Stargate openers are and you don't want to lose 2 Overlords. Because he has 2, like he has already seen this and he can just like dip in once again just to confirm what it is.
Yeah, his Overlord is even in the rally path of that War Prism right now. So we'll be able to confirm that at the very least. He will be able to confirm that, you know, he needs to take up more of a defensive position. He's playing it safe. You'll love to see it. He is throwing down the Roach Warren.
Yeah,
even though he doesn't know what's coming at him, he knows something's coming at him.
Oh yeah, he knows it's ground toss. So the Roach Warren was thrown down earlier. The Roach Warren is already ready. Meanwhile, the Lings are going to be hitting that front door here. He did have his Overlord in position. He saw the Adepts move out. Oh.
And with that, it pretty much comes down to the control and the positioning, whether or not Prince is able to really tear DRG apart with his shades.
Yeah, again, bearing in mind that DRG has been preparing for this. The Queens are here to help zone out that War Prism. Meanwhile, the Adepts are threatening a Shade. We have plenty of links to chase said Shade, as DRG did cut workers here at 37.
Two Ravagers, that it's definitely something that a cloud of Adepts can fight, but not when all of these Queens are here.
Yeah, he wants them so badly. He does get one, doesn't quite get the other. Meanwhile, he fakes out with the Shade. He goes towards that third base, but still hasn't really gotten too many drones.
Yeah, he's targeting down the Ravagers, which I guess will eventually have value, but for now he just hasn't been able to deal much economic damage.
Yeah, not yet, mate, but a lot of these Adepts are still alive. Meanwhile, they do get behind the Mineral Line. Lings are having a hard time. Eventually, they will be able to clean all of this up. Meanwhile, the War Prism barely escapes.
Just barely. Can continue to be a threat here for DRG. Make sure that he's, never comfortable moving across the map.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, the Adepts, they have returned here with a vengeance towards his third base. Some more drone kills here, 5 in total. And you know what? With the micro, the Adepts, they will survive.
Yeah. And this wasn't the most committed. This wasn't the most committed Adept opening either, coming out from Prince. So he gets a little bit of damage, not that much, but it's still very much salvageable for him, unless. Okay. It's fine. I was about to say unless he gets link flooded, but the wall is wall.
The wall is wall. As you were saying, it was only 4 gateways here for Prince, so this is kind of more of a macro opener here. The Adepts only have to deal a little bit of damage. They force out roaches. They force the Zerg player not to drone, and behind this, you can establish a third base, which is exactly what Prince has done. This is a much older style of ZvP, very Zest-esque 2020 sort of thing. This is kind of fallen out of fashion recently, so it's interesting that he brought it back.
Well, you know what they say, or what they're saying anyway. Sky Toss is gone.
I mean, it is. Yeah, you're not wrong.
It whatever the heck you want, as long as you're on the ground.
Exactly. Sky Toss is gone. Glaive Adepts are back, mate. Here we go. We do see the Adepts just force themselves forward, trying to dive on top of the Ravagers. Target fire is pretty good. There's only 1 Ravager left.
He commits?
He commits to the Shade.
I'm not sure if that's the right call to make there. The Warp Prism went down, actually, with the 2 Immortals.
Oh my god, no, the Warp Prism went down, not like this. Just like that, the Immortals are gone, and I think that's a game-ending mistake, mate.
It very much is. There's no way to reinforce all of these Adepts. DRG, I was gonna say has been losing a lot of links, but I look at the army supply difference, and he's still massively ahead. He doesn't have Gilau Reconstitution, does he? I don't think he has a Lariat, so maybe that's something that Prince can take advantage of. He can throw down some defenses, but DRG's making his way for a massive counterattack right now. Yeah,
there's a reason why I said game-ending mistake, because losing 2 Immortals, the goal of your Immortals and slowly banking them up is to defend against roach pushes. You need them desperately, and now we only have 1. We do have a second on the way. That will definitely help out, but we'll see if Prince can hold here as DRG is across the map.
Yeah, Prince is getting concaved. Everything is starting to surround this puny force.
Oh, exactly.
DRG doesn't even need to pile down that force field. He doesn't even care.
Yeah, the Lings do slip on in, and he confirms, the production confirms any kind of tech switch going on here from Prince. Oh, DRG was droning behind this, interestingly enough, so yeah, didn't commit to any kind of push to attempt to break this third.
Yeah, which is something I think is going to give Prince a bit of a chance as this game continues on. He's still in a very precarious position, but triple Nexus mining is pretty much the bare minimum for Protoss.
Yeah.
That.
Like, it feels as if Prince wasn't really punished for losing those Immortals, really. Like, he was able to defend regardless. He's been able to rebuild the Immortals, rebuild the War Prism as well. We saw the Gateway Explosion earlier, and now, once again, it's time for Prince to move out.
Look, DRG is a merciful Dong. He realizes, losing all of that, that's punishment enough, my Prince.
Oh boy, we'll see if that is going to be the case here, as Prince once again is pushing into creep. He does have that detection with that observer. As you were pointing out before, DRG, his lair was relatively late. He does now have it though, and he is working on roach speed, but only just now, and because of that, it is difficult to chase off of creep. So Prince is relatively safe for the time being.
Yeah, he's just rounding off his army here, getting whatever reinforcements he can.
Oh boy, exactly. Charge is completed, by the way. We do have +1, but the concave and the amount of roaches are looking to be a little bit too much here for Prince to deal with.
Yeah, another commitment to the Shade, and it will continue to chip away at this mineral line. You're actually losing quite a number of workers. He was ahead for a while, but now pretty much even. That's always better for the Protoss player.
Yeah, like I'm a little bit surprised here that DRG hasn't found the freedom to drone up too much. He's been spending a lot of his larva on this Roach Ravager army, getting close to maxed out actually. Cutting a lot of drones. Oh boy, he's going for the Queen Walk.
You know what? Yep. And we thought that the update would change the meta. Well, it has.
It has, mate. I don't see any disruptors. Disruptors would shut this down. Instead, we have Charge Dots, Archons, and Immortals. Not a bad army, don't get me wrong, but do we have enough shield batteries? We only have 2 here at the 3rd.
Yeah, it's about to be 2, and one of them's looking extremely exposed.
I've got the Immortal.
Yeah, reinforcements being caught as they move down the ramp, but a very nice hot pickup coming down from Prince. Biles are kind of landing, but also kind of not. It's such a precarious position for Zerg to fight in. He is so far off of creep, but the Overlord spreading creep allows the Queens to throw down a couple of transfuses, and this keeps DRG's momentum going.
Yeah, exactly. The Overcharge is putting in a lot of work. These Immortals as well have done so much damage to this Roach army. Is it going to be enough? There's barely any buffer here. Is the micro good enough to keep the Immortals alive? So far, it is. And mate, Prince, he's done it? He's kind of holding on.
He's also harassed across the map and taken out 20 drones.
Oh my god, he has done it. DRG was 100% all in, and despite not having disruptors, it was all about that micro. GG gets called. Prince takes the first game.
Dude. I'm telling you, man, DRG, you should have punished him when you had the chance.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't. I mean, clearly he had other plans. No, clearly he wanted to try and go for this big, strong counterattack at the 3rd base, which is pretty wide open. But Prince barely had enough to defend. Barely.
He did, right at the end there. Well, we say barely, but apparently Prince needs less than what other Protoss players need.
True.
So really, Prince was like comfortably set up there.
Yeah. I mean, comfortably set up to counterattack at the same time. I'm impressed. I missed it as well. That counterattack going across the map, and because of that DRG, his momentum was stifled a little bit more there. Yeah, Queen Walking aren't anywhere near as reliable as they once were.
Yeah. I like the idea that he went for, getting the Overlords in position, drop creep, and allow the Queens to get some transfuses going, but like you said, it's not quite as reliable. Because what happens if the Queens are 1 pixel off a creep?
Exactly. There's a reason why this is kind of fallen out of favor. But at the same time, mate, it's a best of 5. We still got plenty more matches to go.
Yeah. Prince could win this map, and then there's still a possibility of DRG turning it around. But we'll see if that happens as we continue our series on 2000's Atmosphere. LE, we're of course in the top right-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the top right-hand corner. We have our blue Zerg player coming out from the land of Korea. He's going to be representing Team NV. He is DongRaeGu.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of 2000 Atmospheres LE, we have the South Korean Protoss player himself representing Team JP. Currently up in this series, it is Prince.
If he ever changes his name, he needs to find like an unpronounceable symbol.
What? What do you mean?
So we can start calling him the player formerly known as Prince.
Ah, there you go. I thought you were going to be like, when does he evolve and turn into a king, I thought that's where you were going with that.
Or he can call himself Artist. So then we can call him Artist, formerly known as Prince.
Formerly known as Prince. Oh my god. That's awful. That's...
He should Archon with art.
Well, that's difficult because there is a Korean player called Artist.
There is.
On Team NV.
There is. Yeah.
So that'd be a little bit confusing. What if he changed his name?
But
to
he's
Prince?
in TP, yeah. Dude, what if they do a swap?
Oh, there you go.
Artist, formerly known as Prince. Prince, formerly an artist.
And we thought Soul Spirit was a confusing name.
Prince Artist.
Oh god. I mean, regardless, I think we're both very impressed with Prince. I'm shocked that he still made Glaive Adepts work. Again, very off meta, I would say. Like, obviously, we still see it from time to time, but again, it's not usually what we're seeing.
Yeah, and the way he utilized it as well, he was very... Is gung-ho the right word to use, Light? It felt like he was kind of bloodlusted with what he was targeting down. He never canceled a single shade, it felt like.
Yeah. Yeah, like...
But it still ended up working for him.
Yeah, especially the first wave of Adepts didn't feel like it was worth it. Like, he didn't really get too many drone kills. Like, if you remember, he lost his War Prism as well with his Immortals. Like, it was all very questionable.
Well... He didn't get many drone kills. He did lose his entire Adept force, but he killed a Ravager.
He did kill the He was on point on those Ravagers, mate. And on top of that, even though he wasn't getting like a mass amount of worker kills, I guess it also helped him that DRG also wasn't making too many workers. Like he himself was setting himself up for for an all-in. So yeah, like the stars kind of aligned there for Prince. Not just saying that, you know, DRG kind of led to all of that, but like, yeah, like, even Prince's micro was insane. The Immortals were immortal. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, at least the ones that were defending.
The ones that were not inside the prison.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? You can't micro when they're in the prism, so, you know, makes sense.
Okay.
And speaking of sense, Prince is opening up an alt more standard this time.
Oh, yes, much more standard. It was a Stargate opener here from Prince. He is going for the Void Ray first. Meanwhile, the Lings are looking to delay this third base, and it looks like they should be able to get a kill on that probe. So, nice little bit of damage done by DRG. Void Ray wasn't quite where it needed to be. But we can see that Prince, from here, is going into a Twilight Council.
Yep, once again. You know, mass Void Rays are just not favored in the meta right now. And Glaives, once again.
Yeah. He has seen what Hero has to offer the world, and Prince says no.
Yeah.
You do you, Hero. I do me. Yeah. All right, buddy. I'm not gonna be one of these.
There's a reason why you're the hero and I'm the prince.
Exactly. I'm not gonna be like one of these copycats. You know, like your Nightmares, like your Foreign Protoss. Nah, mate. Glaives. I'm gonna do King Zest proud.
Yeah. He is the son of Zest.
He is, mate.
As the story or the legend rather foretold, actually missed the birth of Prince. Because he was busy playing in the isolation. But yeah, it is a fairly common follow-up from going for Void Ray Oracle, you know, Glaives, I mean, but just the consistency of Prince to continue to go Glaive game after game after game is it's throwing me off a little.
Oh yeah, we'll see how much this can get done. Meanwhile, we do see a bit of a stasis trap going off, only getting one of these workers. The Adepts are about to rock up here. Again, this is a lot less committed. There is no War Prison to reinforce across the map. This does hit a little bit later as well. There are plenty of units on the ground here to deal with said Adepts. Oh, they do get one Queen.
Really, really good how Prince was able to utilize that Void Ray to draw a couple of Queens away from where the Adepts were going to be, and he is getting quite a number more drone kills this time.
Oh, exactly at the same time. Okay, never mind. I thought we were going to see a stasis trap, but no, we do not. We do see a recall instead. Prince has recognized, okay, 6 drone kills. I'm good for now. I'm going to go back home and saturate my third.
Hey, he's just about caught up in the worker count, which again means he's ahead.
Yes. He was able to deal enough damage to gain that economic lead so far. DongRaeGu kind of stuck defending instead. Did get a lair a lot faster though, and we can see that lair is not for Roach speed.
Not at all. DRG doing DRG things and grabbing a Spire.
Exactly. You could argue that this is a little bit risky because we do have a Stargate, so if at any moment this gets scouted by the Oracle, then we can see Phoenix production. Meanwhile, oh my god!
Ooh, okay, nice snipe.
Nice snipe. Stasis trap doesn't go off. And again, the Oracle hasn't wandered into that natural, still has not seen the tech.
And that's pretty much crucial right now for DRG. And these Mutas have like Prince has access to Muta counters very, very easily. You know, Phoenixes, Blink Stalkers. I imagine he's gonna want to go into Archons eventually as well. So DRG might not be able to win a straight-on engagement against the army, you know, with Mutalisk, but he can sneak them around and utilize them very well as a harassment tool.
He really can, but I think something that's really important is that Prince is not waiting for the mutas. He's pushing out across map. Spyro is about to finish up now, and the DRG was kind of banking up a little bit, hoping to save that for the mutas, forced to make roaches.
Yeah, very, very well timed right now for Prince. Even if he doesn't get much economic damage, as long as he keeps most of his army alive, this will have already been worth it for him.
Yeah, exactly. At the same time, we do have a bit of a ling run by here because of the distraction. Prince did take a couple of biles to the face, forced the warp in defensively at home, not at the reinforcing pylon. And DRG, he's buying time. So far, he has defended quite well. So far.
And he's not neglecting that whatsoever. He's continuing to get a couple more roaches and lings. He would love right now to get Mutalisk and fly them across the map, but he knows that he's gonna die if he does that. Nice biles connecting on a couple of stalkers in the back.
Yeah, once again, the biles, they just seem to find their connections here. Prince has had a hard time avoiding them. Meanwhile, that gateway is late. The probe was killed earlier, so because of that, it's a slow warp in to try and reinforce.
And just like that, DRG, he knows he has the momentum and he's keeping his foot on the pedal. Here come a couple of reinforcements for Prince, but they are adepts. The Oracle actually dealing a surprising amount of damage on these roaches.
Yeah, exactly. We need more lings here to buffer for the Roach Ravager. Meanwhile, the gateway is completed. Now we have a fast warp in here of Stalkers. Regardless, though, DRG is pushing Prince all the way back.
Yeah, we may have fast warp-ins, but we do not have warp-ins. As Prince has them all on cooldown at the moment. No Warp Prism here to do any hot pickups.
Yeah, exactly. At the same time, another Ling run right here. Again, these are what are kind of winning DRG the game. Just keeps forcing warp-ins time and time again back at home. Not just that, but also forcing Prince to divert his attention, allow Biles to connect. DRG, he holds me.
Beautifully done. Doesn't even lose the third. It's gonna be, or the fourth actually. It's gonna be saturating up in no time flat.
Yeah, and now here comes the counterattack. DRG is basically maxed out at this point, and Prince is really struggling to keep up here in terms of the supply. There is a lot of micro potential here with Blink Stalkers, don't get us wrong, but again, they are finite when it comes to their micro. You know, they only have that one Blink.
They really do, and the cooldowns are just a little too long right now for Prince to deal with. Doesn't really have much of an anchor point either. Hasn't been able to throw on seg defenses and shield batteries and whatnot. DRG, he's going to concave on top of his army, and he is going to take game number 2.
Yeah, exactly. The Biles are connecting even with the warping in Stalkers. There are just too many reinforcements. Fourth base is going to try and get up, but we even have a couple of rallies there dealing with that. GG gets called. We are tied up.
1-1.
GG. Unfortunately, you know, that Spire was a little bit of a tease. I'm sure a lot of people wanted to see DRG get into his mutas, but alas, was not meant to be. Not this game.
Yeah. But he didn't need them anyway.
I mean, that would have killed him.
Yeah. So you gotta adapt, overcome, overwhelm.
Yeah, exactly. Again, I also want to praise DRG a little bit there. It was a little minute detail, but if you remember at that watchtower when Prince threw down that pylon, he had a probe, and then DRG showed up and he focused down that probe.
Yeah.
Ideally, as soon as the pylon's done, bam, you throw down a gateway, but time had to be spent, you know, rallying another probe from the bases across the map just to get that gateway up, and that slows down reinforcements, that slows down warp-ins. That means suddenly Prince doesn't have as much momentum. He can't hit that crisp timing that he wanted to.
Yeah. It was a minute detail, but it was also the detail that, it was also kind of keystone detail there.
Yeah.
Once that crumbled, everything else fell like a domino.
Oh boy. But yeah, very nicely handled there in the end by DongRaeGu, showing that, hey, if we have a much more modern variation of Glaive Adept, he can handle his own a lot better.
Yeah. How is he going to switch up Glaive Adepts now, though? On a shorter map like Berlingrad.
Yeah, like every game, Glaive Adepts, let's go.
He's gotta.
I mean, so far, it's been happening.
Yeah. 100% of the time. As we continue our series now on to Leningrad LE. We're, of course, in the bottom right-hand corner map, starting all the way in the bottom right-hand corner. We have a blue Zerg player coming down from the land of Korea, which makes sense because this is the Korean qualifiers. He is going to be representing Team NV. He is DongRaeGu.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Berlingrad ALE, we have the South Korean Protoss player himself representing Team GP. It is Prince.
Versus Feel It in the chat here. Wouldn't Burrow be an instant counter to Glaives? It should be. The fact that it isn't is a travesty.
Oh god, there are some players who do opt to go for Burrow. It's such a niche upgrade. Yeah, maybe it should be popularized a little bit more. In general, I feel like Burrow is heavily underused.
Yeah. Definitely agree. If Burrow could, here's my question. Why doesn't Burrow shield from nukes?
I don't think that's how it works, Yaku. I don't think they tunnel that far underground to avoid a nuclear blast. Just saying. You played Fallout, right? The vaults aren't surface level, you know? Like
They kinda are.
Oh god.
If a bandit can walk in, no access, then I don't think it's that.
I feel like we're getting into some Fallout New Vegas critique now. My Yaku. It's like, look, I'm just saying, my immersion gets broken all the time in that game. Okay, like these vaults. What are they vaulting? What are they protecting? Because clearly it's not worth it.
My immersion gets broken all the time when when an NPC teleports because of glitches.
Meanwhile, we do have a little bit of a different opener here, by the way, from DongRaeGu. A decent amount of lings are going to be headed across the map. The wall currently is not a wall. That adept, not quite thick enough. And mate, them lings, they're coming.
Yeah, I don't think this is a move meant to end the game right now for DongRaeGu, but it honestly might.
Yeah, DRG is cutting a lot of workers to make this happen, mate. A lot of workers. Third hatchery is thrown down, but as soon as link speed finishes up, which again, to be fair, is still a ways off, he's coming, mate. Oh god.
Prince, you gotta be careful with your probe. He does throw down a gateway to sort of plug up that hole.
Lings are being banked up, mate. The lings are being banked up, and he doesn't see.
Dude, he can jump on top of this stalker. There's plenty of surface area, actually, on this gateway in particular. Good recall here coming up from Prince, and he is getting some backup.
Yeah, the backup is on the way. The Link Flood is here. He's going to get a full surround on this gateway. We need another wall behind this.
And Prince is getting there. Little by little.
Ooh. Yeah, he does manage to plug up that wall with a pylon. We do have 2 adepts in total here. What's important is that was the only gateway available. No more warpins available until now, until this gateway gets up, but there's no warp gate.
Yeah, it's about to finish up right now, but I fear that it's too little, just too late.
Oh, exactly. The lings are trying to break on through. They will get this pylon. There's no other wall behind it. Oh my god, he tries desperately to plug it up, but the lings get in.
That was just barely enough, just barely not enough minerals there, I think, to get a follow-up pylon. Battery overcharge being popped in the front, but the Lynx don't even care. They just go around that and go straight for the main base mineral line. A lot of probes are starting to go down, but this is a massive investment for DongRaeGu.
Yeah,
okay, he's turning up now. That's fine.
After all said and done, DRG is droning up behind this. He does have his third base up and running. He's taking his gases. He's going into roaches. Wasn't all in. He needed to deal some economic damage, and in the end, he got 7 probes.
Which isn't bad damage. I mean, DRG does put himself a little bit ahead here when it comes to the worker count. Thankfully for DRG, he did, he did opt to he did opt to switch to more of a macro game when he did.
Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned. I'm not gonna lie. Dark Shrine is being thrown out. So we have very limited gas available for DRG. He does finish up his Roach run. Roach is going to be very important because we're going to have a follow-up Glaive at push. And I'm concerned that there may not be enough Roaches to defend. We'll see. We'll see if he can gather enough of them in time for this push.
Yeah, Prince definitely a bit more committed to this counterattack as well, but the DRG does scout the Warp Prism coming down. Even getting a couple of safety spores here and there. It's very tricky on Leningrad just because of the short rush distance for DRG to defend a counterattack like this, but he's trying to buy himself time.
Yes, he is, and he does have 7 Roaches in total. One of them was morphed into a Ravager. The Adepts are going to try and force their way in. Roaches do meet them, so the Adepts won't be able to walk into that natural base. The Shade is going to be chased by the Lings, and it looks like DRG does have enough to hold.
Once again, Glaive Adepts coming out from Prince.
Oh, exactly. Meanwhile, 2 Adepts do get sniped here in the retreat. Warp Prism sneaks into the main base and gets a massive warp in.
Yeah, they immediately get surrounded by the Lings, though, and even with Glaives, it's a little bit tricky to deal with. No anti-air, however. So Prince is able to save them.
Yeah, and what's important from here, by the way, is that he forced DRG to make an army, and now we're even in workers.
Not so much when it comes to army supply, however, and we are on Leningrad.
Yeah, oh god, Prince, he needs a robo, by the way. He needs to start immortal production soon because he's poking the bear, he's forcing Roaches, and he is going to force a Roach counterattack pretty soon. At the moment, he doesn't really have much to defend against that. At least the War Prism is still alive though, so he's keeping DRG at home.
Yeah, it's still alive, and Prince has done a very good job of hiding the fact that he has DTs. He hasn't shut it out willy-nilly. DRG, I don't believe his eyes on that third base either.
We'll be checking, and he has not scattered that third. For all he knows, it is a 2-base all-in. He is a little bit in the dark. Meanwhile, the Adepts are congregating outside the third base, forcing another Shade. They want the Ravager, but up!
They will get it right at the end there, and the Adepts will continue to commit to a Shade. Oh, Warp Prism taking a couple of hits.
Yeah, Warp Prism being
providing enough detection.
Yeah, the Warp Prism was just rallied into the main base, not knowing that there was a Spore Crawler in position. Thankfully, the Prism does survive, and here we go. Immortal production has commenced. Prince is preparing for the Roaches back at home.
Looking pretty good for the time being. And doing whatever he can to just keep DRG back, because I feel like if DRG pushed out right now, he'd win the game.
He definitely could. I mean, right now he's waiting for Guile. He's waiting for Roach speed. He doesn't want to just waddle across the map. Meanwhile, DTs don't come in because there were Spores. Instead, they are morphed into Archons, and you know what? They pick off a couple of Lings.
Yeah, whatever you can really do to shave off the buffer right now of DRG's army.
Whatever he can. Again, just keeping DRG at home. Second Robo's on the way, and I love this adaptation. It's something that we were missing previously in this series, especially on Lightshade. Sorry, not Lightshade, Curious Minds, the other one. But we have a Robotics Bay being thrown down for Disruptors.
Or... No, it's probably going to be Disruptors.
Extended thermal lance, let's go.
Oh, who knows? He could just throw it down for Warp Prism speed. I don't think anything would surprise me right now when it comes to how Prince plays this out. But Disruptor is definitely the most crucial anti-Zerg unit available to Protoss right now, especially if you're in Prince's shoes.
Yeah, meanwhile, no, now's not the time to move out. Oh, Prince, I think he does barely spot the army. Otherwise, he could have been surrounded. He needs to fight with his shield batteries. DRG has cut workers at 60, at 59 technically. He is going once again for a massive Roach push.
He's looking to set up a surround. A couple of force fields do land, but I don't think there are any more available for Prince. The Roaches are starting to break on through. Battery overcharges popped, but it is so far in the back.
Oh, exactly. He's trying to keep these Immortals alive, but again, that surround was just a little bit too good here. DRG, he has broken on through. This time, the Adepts are not going to be enough.
Not at all. Not even the Immortals with the juggling come down.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And even though we saw the Robotics Bay, even so, we saw double Disruptor production. No, the Disruptors get taken out.
And with that, DRG takes game number 2, finding himself a match point and a map away from qualifying for HomeStory Cup Lost Island. Another another mid 600 APM game coming up from DongRaeGu.
Exactly. GG, well played there by DRG, fighting back here, taking a lead in this series. And yeah, what I was gonna say is that unfortunately, Prince, there was some tech there that was a little bit useless, specifically the Dark Shrine. The Dark Shrine didn't really come into play. That's gas. Those are resources that could have been invested into faster immortal production to, again, secure that third base a little bit faster. Could have even led to a faster robotics bay to get into disruptors faster as well. Everything else, well, the rest of his tech was delayed for the Dark Shrine, and yeah, didn't really do much.
Yeah. Oh, there may have been a chance for him, potentially, but when it comes down to it, he just did not have what he needed to defend. And there was no way DongRaeGu was going to be staying on his side of the map for long enough for him to catch back up. Not on Malingrat, but maybe on Hardwire, where we do find ourselves. We're in the top right-hand corner of the map, starting all the way in the top right-hand corner. We have the blue Zerg player coming down from the land of Korea. He, of course, is going to be representing Team NV. He is one map away from qualifying for HomeStory Cup number 21, getting a flight over to Take's house. It's not actually Take's house. He is DRG. DRG.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Hardwire LE, we have the South Korean Protoss player himself representing Team JP. It is Prince.
And, you know, on top of the glaive, the depths here that Prince has been doing, another thing that's been consistent, at least in 2EZs, he's been doing a really good job of just forcing the unnatural natural, which, you know, a lot of Protoss players nowadays, it's preferable if they do it, but I think for the most part they've kind of recognized, yeah, I don't need to do that to beat Zerg.
So not as common, but of course the unnatural has been taken. I'm really curious here as to how, like, is Prince just gonna keep going for Glaive Adepts game after game after game? Is that what we're gonna see? Like, is there a reason for this? Is kind of what I'm curious about. You know, has he kind of seen the new meta and he's not fond of that style? You know, does he have a preferred way of playing?
Yeah, did somebody dare him to just do this every game?
Yeah, maybe he's got a vendetta against Hero, you know? He's
You killed my father.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm very curious as to how he came to this decision. But we'll see if he kind of sticks with it. I guess that's kind of what I'm getting at, as we do see a Stargate opener.
Yeah, still going to be playing this out a little bit safe, at least in the early game. Shouldn't be too committed, but we'll see what the transition looks like for him.
Yeah, we shall see. You know, there's plenty of opportunities here for this Stargate, whether he goes Void Ray first again just to clear out Overlords, whether he opens up triple Oracle to kind of set himself up to take a fast third base and get into this in a more economic fashion, and then go into Blink Stalkers, or just to go into Glaive Adepts again.
And it is... No, it's too early to declare.
It is a Void Ray.
Yeah, just continuing to do standard things here, yep. We're coming out to deny some of the scouting, not as focused on going across the map to deal some drone damage, but, you know, that's what Glaive Adepts are for.
It really is. So we may see it again. We'll see. So far, one drone kill here with this Adept. It was also confirming that, okay, we do have some saturation going on here at the third. DRG isn't, you know, sorry, at the natural, technically. Just keeping an eye on things as DRG is going across the map with his Lings, confirming that, okay, you're not Ling flooding me again.
Yeah. Keep himself safe.
I mean, Oh, nice pick off there by DRG killing that probe. That does mean it's going to delay the pylons and the shield batteries and the SimCity a little bit, forces another probe off the line here. So, you know, just a little bit of nice damage. Meanwhile, behind this, Prince doesn't go for a Twilight Council.
What?
Not immediately, anyway.
Okay, yeah. There we go, but yeah, considering the order of things, it's unlikely that it'll go Glaives from here. It's usually when we do see a Robo into a Twilight Council, it's more commonly a Blink build.
Yeah, especially because kind of chronoing out your upgrades are kind of take priority in a way. So I'm really curious to see what this is going to be for here. As we do have a couple more gateways being thrown down. We haven't seen Prince pull out of the gases, by the way. He has kind of focused on that production for the time being. And
actually, maybe Glaives again. It's Charge!
Charge!
I was not expecting this considering how gas intensive he's being right now, but I guess I guess just because he's going for Charge doesn't mean he's going all in. This makes a lot more sense. He needs the gas for the Templar.
Yeah.
And eventually the Archons.
I'm not gonna lie, typically when I see Charge, it is usually for a Charge all in.
Yeah.
We have seen quite a bit of that, so yeah, I mean, it is a nice change of pace, a very stark difference compared to Glaive at Epps. Again, Prince showing us more of his versatility. You know, he's not just a one-trick pony or anything like that.
He's got many tricks.
He does. And we'll see how this goes, because again, typically Charge Archon is a little bit less harassment oriented, especially early on. So that means that DRG is going to be free to drone up far more than he has been able to these past couple of games, already exceeding that 60 worker count. He's working on a 4th base. He's working on his upgrades. Evo Chamber is thrown down for +1. So DRG is having a much easier time here in the early to mid game.
Yeah, and he's making full use of it, just to gather as much of his army as possible. He's on 67 drones for now. I have a feeling he's not going to be droning up for a very long time, like.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's looking pretty comfortable when it comes to his workers. You know, he's making his roaches just to defend. He was able to scout those Archons earlier with his Lings, so he's well aware of them, and now he's just setting himself up to defend. And
defend, he is doing a little bit, you know. His greedy oracles and getting himself set up by his freshest base, incidentally where Prince wants to hit.
Yeah, and I kind of love this because, mate, Glyla is about to finish up shortly. DRG can go for a counterattack, and recognizing that it is a Twilight Council into Templar Archives, he knows that, hey, you probably don't have any Immortals. I can be aggressive now, and will you even have enough to defend?
Yeah, he's trying to suss this out, and he notices that's a lot of charge slots. There's a chance right now for DRG to kill this base, but he needs to set himself up properly. He's spreading the creep from the Drop Lords once again. You love to see it. He's spending a lot of energy spreading creep tumors, which I fear might dip into his transfuse potential.
Yeah, potentially, but again, the creep is essential for those transfuses. The first disruptor comes out. This Nova is going to be so important. Another is behind this on the way. Up!
And the Purification Nova lands on a couple of Queens, and it's not quite enough to take them out, but it is enough for the charges to come in and clean it up. Roaches are breaking on forward. Battery overcharge is being popped. But wow, that's a massive stasis ward.
Yeah, the stasis trap goes off, getting half of the roaches. I didn't even see it. Clearly, DRG didn't even see it as well. Just like that, he's forced to back off. Prince is holding for the time being. The disruptor count is getting even higher.
DRG is backing off, but not too far away. Beautiful connection on top of a whole bunch of Ravagers. This is still looking decent for DRG, honestly.
Yeah, mate, those roaches that just got out of stasis actually target fired the remaining disruptor, the one that still had a Nova within it. So DRG still has a little bit of momentum. He's still breaking on through. Shield batteries are running out of energy, Yaku.
They have rapidly run out of energy. That's a beautiful Purification Nova, taking out just about every single Ravager. I was going to say, I feel like as time continues on, this push is getting weaker and weaker and weaker for DRG. The defenses are getting much stronger for Prince.
Yeah, exactly. Again, that disruptor count has been getting higher. All these overlords are exposed. Thankfully, we do have numerous carapace, so the overlords can run all the way back home. But as you were saying, Prince has held that first wave.
And all of a sudden, things are looking up for him a little bit. You know, DRG not one to let up once he has the momentum, but I'm not convinced he can take it all the way.
Yeah, you could argue that Prince overextended a little bit there. A couple of Stalkers were focused down, but again, he's able to clean up all this creep. Without Queens, DRG doesn't have as much staying power here, but he picks up a couple more Stalkers wherever he can. He's an opportunist, and he is taking up behind this. Again, he has recognized he can't end the game. He is droning up.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see a 5th base coming out from him, but he doesn't really need it either at this point, I guess. He's got a fairly comfortable worker count on 73, and he's about to saturate all the spaces. So, #1 priority for DRG is tech above everything.
Yeah, it really is. He needs to get into these lurkers as soon as possible. That's really kind of the dominant tech here in ZvP mid-game against ground toss specifically. Not as much swarm toss, but again, against what Prince is going for, we need lurkers, we need vipers, we need a hive. Hive is on the way. And at least Prince didn't really have enough left over to really push out across the map, so DRG has been able to drone up pretty freely.
Yeah, pretty much caught back up on the worker count with Prince. It's still a little bit scary. They are just about even. Prince actually the first player to take a 5th.
Yeah, I'm with you. Where's the 5th of DRG? I'm a little bit concerned. Oh god, I mean his working count's still looking great. Yo, he dives into one of the disruptors.
Oh, and he targets down the correct disruptor.
Wow.
The one throwing down its Purification Nova. This Roach Horse will get taken out, but this is fine for DRG. He wants to clear up a little bit of supply because Hydra's on the way, Viper's on the way. Eventually, I'm gonna get some lurkers.
Yeah, roaches are kind of running out of their usefulness right now. We've talked about it before. You know, roaches, they're so supply inefficient. We need to make room for hydras, lurkers, vipers, what DRG really wants. He has to be careful not to throw away too much at once because we don't want to prompt a counterattack and just die because we don't have enough army. But he has been doing it quite well. He has been able to balance it quite nicely, and the first wave of lurkers are on the way.
Like so.
Exactly, 5 lurkers in total. Prince not really feeling too confident to push into creep, especially because his disruptor count was basically reset. He just has pure blink stalker and that's it. I'm a little bit surprised. Where is the second robo right now? Despite being on 5 bases, we don't have many disruptors being produced at all.
Yeah, Prince is not in a particularly good economic position at all right now. He's spending a lot of his bank on, I think, just all of these stalkers. How many gateways has he got? 12. That's why he doesn't have enough money to tech up.
Yeah,
He's been warping in 12 stalkers at a time.
12 stalkers. Stalkers are great. Yo, he dives on top of some of these exposed lurkers. Blinding clouds are being thrown down though, and here we go. There's the yoink on the last remaining disruptor. Oh, there's another one.
Yeah, but it's Purification Nova's on cooldown, so it's not really a disruptor. Now it is.
Oh god, okay, he is ready. Meanwhile, again, I'm really concerned about the lack of disruptors. We'll see if maybe Prince's Blink Micro is going to be good enough to really carry him through this.
And we have seen plenty of players, you know, be able to, even after losing the disruptors, win engagements like this off the back of purely the Blink control.
Yeah, exactly.
Prince is one of them.
Meanwhile, not just Blinks, but also a Zealot run by eviscerates this mineral line. The base is going to be going down at the same time. Nova does connect with the main army.
And that yoink was just a little bit too late there right at the very end, but Prince is having some difficulty pushing into this position when there are a ton of lurkers on the ground like that, or underground like that, I should say.
That's the thing, like you need to be able to zone them out with disruptors. If it's not going to be disruptors, then try and tech up into Skytoss instead. Like there are kind of multiple ways to deal with lurkers. I feel like Prince is doing it almost the hardest way. He is kind of doing it, kind of.
Kinda is, yeah. But you could be doing it with more efficiency, shall we say. 2 more robots are on the way, as well as 2 more Stargates and a fleet beacon. But DRG has a bit of momentum here, and he does not want to let go of it.
Yeah, exactly. We do see the lurkers once again eviscerating all of those zealots. DRG is pushing on forward. Prince kind of plummeting a little bit in supply. He's trying to hold on desperately. To be fair, there aren't that many lurkers here, only 3.
And they're pretty clumped up together.
Exactly. Meanwhile, we have the yoink. The purification nova doesn't go off.
Disruptor will instead get taken out, and this is much more of a concern right now because those robo facilities haven't finished up just yet. He's still doing whatever he can with his 1 disruptor, but each time purification nova gets thrown out, the DRG can just cancel it over and over and over again.
Exactly, and again, Prince did recognize what he was lacking. That's why he threw down as many robos as he could. 3, like, what was it? 3 robos in total, or 2 robos at a time. But it may just be a little bit too late. The lurkers are reigning supreme here. The stalkers and zealots are having a hard time closing the distance. They just can't. They can't do it.
Detection! Detection of Prince gets taken out, and I'm currently looking at a Zerg player of 103 supply against a Protoss player at 18 light.
Exactly, like going into all these Stargates and the Fleet Beacon was nice and all, but again, was just a little bit too late. By the time he was doing it, he didn't have any momentum. He didn't really have the bases either. He couldn't get away with it.
Even these robo facilities were depowered. He was getting immortals out of them instead of disruptors, but, you know, even still, it'd be nice to have something.
It would be. I mean, we have 3 carriers on the way, which is great and all, but again, they only just now started. It's a little bit too late. He may lose another base before that happens. There isn't much anti-air, to be fair, but Hydras are on the way, man.
Yeah. Plus, there's always the potential for Vials. Today I learned you can yoink an Archon as it's being warped in, or morphed in.
Yeah, meanwhile, DRG having a little bit of fun with his starter set micro there. The Nova goes off, and it's great and all, but it takes 2 Novas to kill a lurker. GG gets called, and DongRaeGu is the first player to qualify. First Korean to qualify for HomeStory Cup.
Very, very, very much well played here by DongRaeGu. You can absolutely tell he was in form throughout his entire tournament run today. Prince did trip him up a little bit, you know, going for that glaive build at the start, but apparently 1 game is all DRG needs to get a read on his opponent. So there, he just adapted.
Yeah, exactly. Really, really well played there by DRG. Prince, again, when going up against lurkers, I feel like it took him a long time. It took him too long to recognize that he needed to switch gears, you know, from what he was working with. And eventually he did, right? But it took a while for that to happen. By the time he did, yeah, DRG was in full control of that map, and yeah, really well done there by DRG. Like, despite struggling in the first game, he bounced back real quick.
He really did, and never really get let go either. But do not fret at all, fans of Prince there in the chat. He is not knocked out of the qualifier yet. He will instead be going to the lower bracket, where he has 1 more shot at a qualifying match, actually. Yeah. If you lose the upper qualifier, you immediately get seeded into the lower qualifier.
Exactly. Everyone, exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket yourselves. As we quickly switch the scenes over, we have had a lot of updates. And a lot of players getting eliminated.